Thank you, Mrs. Henry, for that kind introduction. And thank you so much for inviting me here to this forum. It is a bit nostalgic for me, can I say? Because I can remember my first year as a beginning teacher, and I was in a similar position to the audience. I wasn't so abreast with all the concept of multigrading, but with the aid of my mentors, I was able to pull through, and here I am today. I'm doing the same thing for you. Now, as Mrs. Henry said, I will be presenting today on the physical layout of the classroom. Before I move forward, though, I want to test my audience. Now, I'm going to ask a question and I'm going to give you a time frame, say 2 minutes, to respond. The question is, when you think about the physical layout of a classroom, what comes to mind and why do you think it is important? Thank you, audience, for your participation. Your valid points aligns well with what I am about to present to you today. Let us now take a closer look at the physical layout of a multigrade classroom. The physical layout of a multigrade classroom refers to how we arrange and organize our furniture, learning zone, resources, and material within that physical space. It involves considering factors such as accessibility, flexibility, and accommodation of diverse activities and age groups. Now let us look at accessibility of resources. In a multi-grade classroom, we ought to ensure that students of all grade levels have easy access to teaching aids and learning materials. We can do so by organizing resources in labeled storage places for quick retrieval and make sure that the materials are accessible to students of all ages. Now, this would mean that the classroom becomes flexible, and flexibility comes into play. It must comes into play. Now, the design should be adaptable enough to suit various teaching and learning activities. The whole class instruction, the furniture layout, it should be flexible. We ought to ensure that the arrangement permits easy access and fluid mobility for both students and teacher. Flexibility also centers around zoning. When we zone our classes, it helps students to understand how the classroom is set up and to promote autonomous work. Zones are established distinct places within the classroom that is set up for particular tasks. So we might have a reading nook, a math station, a scientific section, etc. And in these zones, we must have age appropriate materials. So consider your students' ages and adjust the classroom layout accordingly. While younger students may benefit from a more expansive room for mobility and play, older students might require individual workspaces as well as collaborative location for group activities. A very vital aspect of the classroom is the teacher's workstation. And the teacher's workstation should provide the teacher with a distinct workplace that offers quick access to educational material, technology, and administrative resources. Now we're going to look at the seating arrangement in our multigrade classroom. And we're going to start with the U-shape or horseshoe seating arrangement. The U-shape or horseshoe seating arrangement provides the teacher with a clear view of the student. It also promotes participation, collaboration, and discussion. This seating arrangement is ideally suited for classes that emphasize class discussion and group projects. Next, we have the traditional row. This seating arrangement facilitates straightforward classroom management and discipline. Students are less likely to be diverted by their classmates when the teacher can readily supervise and regulate the class from the front of the room. This may not be the best option for a multi-grade classroom, but may work best for some students. Next is the semicircular seating arrangement. The semicircular seating arrangement encourages active participation and encouragement among students, which is one of the benefits. Since everyone is facing each other, there are no barriers and it's simpler for students to interact and communicate with each other. It is a collaborative learning environment and it helps students learn from each other. Next, we have group tables, and this seating arrangement allows students to sit at a table in small groups rather than individual desks. Each table usually seats 4 to 6 children and enables them to collaborate on activities and projects. Next, we have round table seating arrangement, and this arrangement often utilizes a small group discussion or collaborative learning activity. In a multi-grade classroom, roundtable seating may be effective seating arrangement since it encourages students to engage in cooperation across grade levels and promote a positive climate. And now we have the Harrington Bone or stadium arrangement, and this is where the decks form in rows of 2, 3s, or 4s, for example, and are slightly turned to fronts facing the whiteboard, which is normally in the center of the classroom. This arrangement encourages student contact and dialogue, which may improve their learning experience. Next, we have the combination seating arrangement, and this arrangement helps to create a more inclusive and inviting classroom atmosphere.